Now the attack that we seen in the previous video worked perfectly because the pin was really simple. It was set to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 0. And it actually came from the factory like this, so most people will not be modifying that. And if your target is using the same router that I got from my internet provider, then you'll be able to crack their password very, very easily. Right now, I just want to show you an example. I actually modified the router settings and I set the pin to be something more random. Again, it still has to be 8 digits and still has to be made out of digits only. So you'll still be able to cover all possibilities and crack it. And I just want to show you that this still works if the pin was more complicated than just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So I'm just going to run wash again. And we can see that I have my target here, the test AP. And I'm just going to run Reaver against it exactly like I did in the previous lecture. Give it the BSS ID and the channel and my wireless interface. I'm going to hit enter. And Reaver actually supports pause and resume. So if you were cracking a network and you reached 50%, for example, and then you wanted to stop that attack for some reason, you can just press Ctrl+C at the same time, go do whatever you wanted to do, and come back even weeks after, and just launch Reaver again against that network, and Reaver will know where it stopped, and it'll start from 50%, so it's not gonna start from scratch. So with this, I'm gonna tell it, yes, please resume, and it's gonna start with me. So you can see that so far it tried 25 pins. And it's just going to keep going and it's going to try to brute force all possibilities. And if we look at the start, you'll remember that it said there's 11,000 possibilities. So it can actually cover all these possibilities. It's not a huge number. And then when it covers all of them, it will definitely be able to get the pin and then calculate the key from the pin. Now I'm going to Ctrl+C out of this because this is actually working properly, and I just wanted to show you what it would look like while it's working if the pin was a bit more complicated. So you can see right here it reached 0.37%, and it's saying that the estimated maximum time is 6 hours 5 minutes to cover all possibilities. So you might actually be able to guess the pin before that time and get the key, but the maximum time that you're gonna have to wait is 6 hours 5 minutes and 18 seconds. Now if I go up, now notice that it's 0.37%. If I go up, you'll see that I was at 0.33%. So it's actually working. It's trying the pins, it's going through the pins and trying them one by one individually. So everything is working. All I have to do in this case is just wait for it to guess the pin and then give me the key. Now this router is configured in a way that it's gonna accept failed attempts and it will never lock. So when we run wash, I'm just gonna go and run wash again like I did. You'll see the WPS locked here, and for my test AP, it's still set to no. What this basically means is some routers lock after a number of failed attempts. So when you try to authenticate with them using a wrong pin after 4, 5, 6, however the router is configured, they will lock and they'll stop accepting any requests even if we try the right pin. So the router that I'm trying against right now, the test AP, never locks. Even if I try 1,000 wrong pins, it'll never lock. So that's really handy, and that's why it's very easy to crack. While you're testing, you might face some routers that are configured to lock after a number of failed attempts. And once the router locks, basically you won't be able to do anything, and you'll have to wait for it until it unlocks. Some routers unlock after a minute, some routers lock after 5 minutes, and some routers take days to unlock. So it's not really a good idea to just sit down and wait for the router to unlock. Now my other router, the updated one that's sent from the company, actually does lock after failed attempts. And I'm going to show you now. I'm just going to run Reaver against it, and I'm going to show you how the router looks like if it's locked. So my other router is actually the one that I'm using currently, so it's still named the default name. And it's this one. So I'm going to run Reaver against it again using the same command that we did in the previous lecture. I'm not going to do anything fancy. So it's just going to be, I'm going to clear this first, and then I'm going to do Reaver -B, and it's running on channel 6. And then I'm gonna give it my wireless card in monitor mode. Hit enter. Sorry, I had to give it after -I. And again, it's asking me if I wanted to continue from the last time. I'm gonna say no to start from scratch. And you can see that it works for a bit, and then it just completely locks. It doesn't really do anything, it just sits down there. Now if I press Ctrl C and run wash again, you'll see that the router got locked right here, and it won't accept any more requests right now, so we can't really do anything at the moment because WPS is locked. Now the simplest way to get the router to unlock is to just de-authenticate all the connected computers and keep doing that for a long period of time until the user, one of the users, will just think that there is something happening in the network and just goes in and turn off the router and turn it back on. When they do that, the router will get unlocked and then you'll be able to run Reaver again. So to do that, all you have to do is do an authentication attack like we did before. So you're going to do replay ng, deauth. You're going to give it the access point. And you're not going to specify a client because you want it to connect all the clients. And then you're going to give it the card in monitor mode, which is Mon0. And don't forget to specify a really large number after the deauth. Now we spoke about this before, and I'm not gonna run this attack right now because it actually requires physical interaction of the user to go and restart the router. So again, it's not the best way, but it is a way to get the router to restart. There's better methods to do that. We're gonna do them using a tool called MDK3, and we'll talk about them in the next lecture.